close. One more day and I'll overdose. Killing me softly, I gotta choose. Keep my life, I'll lose myself in you. I'm so addicted, it has to end. But why do I keep holding your hand? I am stuck and I'm hypnotized. Visions of you come and stay the entire night. My mind is buried, rescue out of sight. Crazy me, what do I not see? That you are living poison in my veins. Put the needle in me so that I feel free. I let loose, give you the key. Pray that you'll be dead to me. Ashamed, this is my destiny. Crazy me, what do I not see? That you are living poison in my veins. Put the needle in me so that I feel free. I let loose, give you the key. Pray that you'll be dead to me.
Step into Wix Studio, the platform for agencies and enterprises. Kick off projects in a workspace that's designed for your workflow. Work seamlessly and experiment freely. and design complex layouts with intuition and precision to that very last pixel. Structure and populate dynamic content fluidly.
Snooze on me. I was dreaming about what food to eat. Why they sleeping, why they snoozed on me? I was seizing opportunity. Now they don't know what to do with me. I keep going hard like I'm in puberty. The billions in my blood, there ain't no ruling me. Coming for the top, this is a mutiny. I want percentage, yeah. Put you in your mind like fuck your business, yeah. You never had a chance like an abortion. Punk it, you don't wanna play with me, that's forfeit. Shit, took it to a place that never thought he could. Now the lone wolf is holding up in Bollywood. Now I got some confidence, they call me cocky. Put your fucking tiger in the eye, I feel like Rocky. I am untouchable, I cannot fuck with you. I do not follow rules, makes me uncomfortable. I got all this passion and desire, force my path with the fire. Never passive, I acquire till I'm crashing your empire. They was sleeping, they was snooze on me. I was dreaming about what food to eat. Why they sleeping, why they snoozed on me? I was seizing opportunity. Now they don't know what to do with me. I keep going hard like I'm in puberty. The billions in my blood, there ain't no ruling me. Coming for the top, this is a mutiny. Don't know what to do with me. Looking past my reflection, thinking about what you mentioned. It was supposed to be the one to take every last pain away. Nothing on our loving. Maybe time told us that we were different. Did it break you down? Staring at the ceiling, fighting off a feeling. One more minute, 'cause I just don't wanna come down. I wanna go back to how I used to be.
I really love the fact that this is an early access game, mainly because it doesn't work half the time. It's fantastic, trust me. I'm loving it. I can't say how much I'm loving this game, really. Anyway, we are here for Le Mans Ultimate. Apologies for being late, but unfortunately the game decided that it wasn't... It just didn't want to work. I was going at 10 FPS for the entire duration of the 8 minutes that just passed, for no reason apparently. I don't know what else to change. I just put the graphics down a tiny bit and I went from 10 FPS to 75. I have no idea. I really have no idea at this point, but anyway. At the moment the Kiss is leading the pack, just in front of Modern in the Peugeot 9X8. Of the 2024 season, and then the earliest one, which is being driven by Hill, as you can see. No, I remember there was maybe Sedivi. I think it's Sedivi is driving the older car, the one without the wing, and now Modern is back at the top of the table. And is currently following another Ferrari, which is, I think, the one being driven by... I suppose it's the number 50. There's just one number 50, and it's Cody Besling. in 7th place at the moment. For now it's 74 milliseconds, the gap between Modan and the best first sector. As he goes on the back straight, they just have another minute to go to put the car in pole. As Modan slows down, possibly to gain back some battery power to go for a final lap. And Domokoskis now starts the lap. Sedevi is now in 3rd place. The turn number 3 into the chicane. Look at the sky, it's full of lights. That's mainly because of the fact that this track was especially created to make night racing possible for F1. Although at the beginning this was a dry and middle of the day race, then changed into a night session. Askis currently is 7 milliseconds below himself and everyone else in the first sector. Currently 2 tenths is the gap between Kiss and Modan. He goes over the right-hander, a long right-hander, a double right-hander rather, and he's currently, ooh, that's a bit of a hit, 3 tenths off the pace. Nearly, so I doubt this will be enough to get into pole. And this was the last lap, as I'm seeing a Porsche sideways, and that's in fact the number 94 that goes into the pits. So this just leaves Adam Modan, who is still improving by a 10th currently. Now makes another 80 milliseconds on the second sector, putting the total on 2 tenths. So he is en route to make it into 45 seconds lap time. As he goes over the main straight and crosses the line to put the car in pole even more, with a 45.986, enlarging the gap to Kiss on nearly 4 tenths, with Diaz now in 3rd place. As now we go into LMGT3. And I think I can just show... No, I can't, unfortunately. Wait, I can. Maybe. Okay, no, it doesn't work. No, okay, it does work. So this is currently the gap in GT3. As Illigner just follows closely the McLaren just ahead with the Inception livery. The number 70, although going very slow there into turn 3, being a bit of an impeding situation, but he stands. The Corvette remains on the correct path. This is, I think, the quickest first sector, but by also being the only car that crossed the first sector line, that also helps. I suppose it's around 2 minutes and some seconds for LMGT3. This should be the time. Usually it's the difference between hypercars and LMGT3 is usually around a 10 seconds gap, roughly. As all the cars pass the first sector line, currently Ligner remains the quickest one in S1. Now in S2, just to give you a comparison, 36.8 was Illigner's time in the first sector, 32.0 was the Hypercar's best first sector, 54.3 in the second, compared to a 47.5 in Hypercar class. So we are already 11 seconds slower than the higher class. And then we go into the final corner. You try to cut as much as possible to get a good run into the kilometer point. If I'm not correct, it is 1.3 kilometers long, this straight here. And that's across the line at 201.2. So around 2 minutes. And I'm seeing there is a hypercar on track. So Krebs is currently driving around, which is not good because the hypercar session is over. So I'm not sure what's his plan at the moment. Illigner is now on pole, roughly 2 seconds in front of Timo Bigot, who went way too long into the first corner. Maybe now this works. Okay, now it is working, as you can see. Just went wide for some reasons. Must be trying to prepare for his racing lap. As we go back live in, I think now should be 20 seconds if I remember correctly the replay. I think it's still going in replay mode. I'll be honest, but I will check later. As Illigner is now 3.5 attempts, apologies, 3.5 attempts below, so he's targeting a 2 minutes .00. The Corvette driver, nearly wheel spinning the rear end on the second to last corner. As he goes on the final right-hander. It's Brown also follows behind. The Corvette number 81 goes across the line to put his car back in front of Radevic's. Oh wait, I think he just went off track at the final corner because his lap was not valid, so he will remain behind the Radevic's in the McLaren car number 59 with a 01.166, just barely ahead of Illigner. Okay, I'm starting to think that. Just a moment, I think. Okay, it's still fantastic. So there are 2 buttons. Good to know. I'm loving this game. I'll be honest. I can't say how much I'm loving everything about this game. Really. As Illigner is still trying to put his foot in pole position. He's currently 26 milliseconds off the pace, but second sector was a 6 tenths advantage on his opponent, so he's currently putting together 8 tenths as he goes on the final few hundred meters, and he sets at 2:00.011. Very quick, just 11 milliseconds off the 2:0 flat, putting an astonishing amount of time between himself and Radevic's following, still in second place. As now only a minute and a half remains So this is effectively the last time they will cross the line. But that's unfortunate. Redvix just went way too aggressive. He was quicker than the usual in the first sector, but unfortunately lost the rear and ultimately lost the chance to make it in pole. So now Illigner is out too many doubts in first place, pole sitter in LMGT3 class, and he is also still improving. Currently he is on a 2 minutes flat. So he is very interested in making it 59. As he also follows the McLaren number 59 in 12th place in class. So that could realistically make him slower. In any case, he is in pole, so that's not really an issue for him. So is he going to improve? He doesn't, just barely, but he doesn't improve. He remains with a 0.011, and that's pretty much qualifying over, unless someone else improves. I'm seeing Jan Barth going extremely slowly, and Brown also still in 6th place. There is a BMW here, it's Bigot, the number 46. As he is currently putting a 2.4 between himself and the pole position, and he goes on for a 202.3, puts the car in 5th place. As Van Horn is also trying to improve his lap time. As he is currently 2 seconds off the pace. That would at least put the BMW driver in 4th place. As he goes across the line to put the car in 4th place. With a 202.0. Leaving only Ian Barth in 8th. But the Ferrari driver is possibly going into the pits. So this is the current situation in LMGT3. As qualifying is now over, unless the game decides otherwise. Because it's not moving for some reason. So let me just put back. Okay, now it's moved. So this is your starting grid. We got Adam Modan starting in 1st with Keys alongside. Then Mitchell Diaz is in 3rd, just ahead of Frank Selevi, with Johnny Murasaki and Daniel Krebs following in 5th and 6th place in the Toyota and in the Porsche. Then Peter Van Lieshout and Timo Brown in 7th and 8th place in row number 4. Chris Jones follows in 9th with Cody Wessling in 10th place. And Simon Turner and Craig Hill are in 11th and 12th place. Jack Evans and William Glover complete the hypercar class qualifying grid. Then we've got Dominic Illigner and Bartek Radevics in first and second in LMGT3. Drobot and Van Horn follow in row number 9 with Yannick Plus and Timo Bigot in 19th and 20th place. Nico Bellman just behind the other Corvette with Ian Barfi in 22nd. Alan Brown is in 23rd and S. Moody is in 24th place.
Formation lap has started.
With Mark Stewart and Nigel Longden one after the other just in row 13 with Tom Brunel driving in the BMW car. That was your starting order for this evening, although as you can see the track is in plain afternoon.
Green flag.
It's green flag and away we go with a nice start. I think there is a freeway situation there between a Porsche, Peugeot and a Toyota following that Johnny Murasaki, but as you can see here they open up as much as possible with the Peugeot on the inside. There is a Porsche there in the middle of the pack trying to go a bit on the outside. A tiny bit of contacts here and there, but now Diaz, ooh, that's some touch with the Peugeot in second place. As Murasaki also follows closely the situation unfolding. Adam Modern still maintains the top of the field with Michel Diaz going for the outer line, but he doesn't go for the position as it stands. So that's a lockup from the Toyota of Murasaki just behind Daniel Krebs. They are still side by side, but Michel Diaz is now still side by side with the Peugeot. Now he's side by side with the other Porsche of Daniel Krebs. Unless he goes for a dive on the Peugeot, he actually goes for a dive bomb for position number 2, and that's Michel Diaz now in the car number 5 in second place with the Moskis following in third. Daniel Krebs is the Peugeot, is in the Porsche number 6 in fourth, and Johnny Murasaki is now in 5th place, just ahead of Frank Sedivi in 6th place. Jones is only 14th in class, but he is 24th overall, nearly going into the McLaren of Nigel Longden. I didn't see the reason for his off track, but as it stands, Dominic Hilligner is easily in P1 with Bartek Radevics and Vladislav Drobot following in second and third in class, as you can see from this camera. It's a very nice one. I really love the cameras in this game, I'll be honest. These are very fancy ones. Anyway, here there is the train for second place, as Adam Modon is already creating a gap between himself and the car following, as Valdisut is into the pits, so clearly some damage that has to be repaired for the Ferrari driver. As I was saying, Modon, even Radix is in the pits. So 2 cars clearly with damage that has to be repaired. Oh, it's actually a drive-through, apologies. A drive-through for improper starting position because they are not pitting. So they had to go through the pits at pit lane speed. Meanwhile, back here, Diaz is still just ahead of Kiss with Krebs in 4th. Oh, that's a possible overtake between Murasaki. And oh, that's more contact than what is necessary. And Johnny Murasaki nearly went for a half spin. I'm also seeing a possible overtake behind between a Porsche and not sure which car it was. I think it was lower, but he's a second and a half away from his opponent. So I'm not sure what was happening there. And a few hundred meters ahead, there is still a battle for second place as a yellow flag is being waved. But we will follow this little battle. Oh, that's a bit of mistake from Adam Modan, who is possibly going to give a open window to Diaz to make a pass. He doesn't, he remains behind, leaving Kiss just there. There is another yellow flag waving. It's actually Timo Bigot, who is now back running, but he is now losing 3 places because of that, as Krebs is now trying the overtake on Kiss for 3rd place, and the same is happening just barely ahead with the 2 Porsches. Again, another mistake by Adam Modan, who is now giving the flank to Mitchell Diaz, going for the move for P number 1, and that's on the main back straight. So now we have a new leader. Mitchell Diaz is now the leader of the race, although with a cutback move, and that's Modan going back for P1, as they are still side by side on the right-hander. And now Mitchell Diaz is carrying 2nd place again, as Domokoskis is barely behind, following the 2. We can go for this diesel. View inside the Porsche, inside the Peugeot driver, looking at the Porsches ahead. So there is possibly a side-by-side between the 2 Porsches. As you can see, Diaz is on the right and Moden is on the left, with Kiss just following the 2 because there is no space. Oh, little contact between the 2. And I think Diaz has the upper hand on this. As you can see, Modan goes for the outside. Oh, that's actually... Oh, there is an incredible maneuver there. Daniel Krebs goes for a major overtake, overtaking not only 1, not only 2, but actually 3 cars. And Krebs is now the leader of the race all of a sudden, as they go 2 wide, 3 wide into the right-hander. And Daniel Krebs took the advantage of this situation. He's now the leader of this race, and now Kiss is trying to go for P number 3. Oh, that's actually, apologies, it's Frank Sedevi going for the move on Adam Modan. There is a lot going on, and unfortunately the deliveries are not really helping the situation. But the Peugeot 9X8 of Frank Sedevi just remains in P4, with Mitchell Diaz now chasing Daniel Krebs with an important maneuver. I really want to see it again, that one there. He went for an incredible overtake, going from 4th to 1st in a single corner. After Diaz went for an inside maneuver, went too wide, and by doing so he actually, without intention, stopped his opponent Adam Modan from going for an overtake maneuver on the outside. Domokoskis was simply boxed, and this left Daniel Krebs with an enormous advantage into making a perfect move to turn 4. So now it's a 5-way battle for position number 1. As in LMGT3, the situation still remains the same, with Illigner in P1. Drobat is now in 2nd place, with Van Horn following in 3rd, after Radevics had to go through the pits. So drive through. Oh, that's Frank Sedevi losing a lot of time there, and possibly leaving Domokoskis with an opportunity to make it into P4, although he remains behind. There is not enough space for the number 94. As there is a BMW lagging a lot. I'm not sure which number it is, but there was a BMW literally teleporting, as Diaz and more done, although in second place, that's the Peugeot battling behind. I think Kiss will remain behind for now. Maybe not. So the two Porsches are certainly going to stay like this. I wonder if there is a possible move between the two Peugeot. There isn't a move between the two Peugeot. And Frank Slivi remains in 4th place with Omokoskis in 5th. Michel Diaz is not really having a good time. He had a very important... Oh, Muri has been disqualified. So that's possibly the car that was lagging a bit. So now Daniel Krebs is still ahead of everyone. With Diaz just behind. The yellow flag is waving. I think that's Chris Jones. Yeah, that's Chris Jones who went off track in turn 4. The situation still remains the same here. You can also see a tire choice. Everyone going for medium tires. So there isn't really much to say about it. Not really a different tactic ongoing in the field. But many battles are ahead. So we have 3 Porsches in top 3. Then 2 Peugeot follow, and a Toyota is in 6th place. So the first 12 minutes have passed. And now Kiss is just ahead of Frank Sedevi with an overtake in the afterward of turn 4. As there is also been some overtake action between Hill and Bestlink. As you can see, now Hill is behind Bestlink, but there was a moment where they were on the opposite side of the table, each back in the lead, because there are just 3/10 of a second between Krebs and Diaz, and now the... Oh, that's a McLaren just being in the middle of the way, making some contact with Krebs, who is now 2nd place, who is not the leader anymore after Diaz went for... Oh, there is a major incident there, and that's Diaz off the racetrack, and that's also very likely the end of the race for Diaz after a mistake made by Daniel Krebs. That was a massive incident between the two. That's certainly a lot of aero damage for the former leader of the race. Yellow flag still waving. Michel Diaz is not moving. He is stopped on the racetrack, and that's game over for Michel Diaz, as Daniel Krebs is now in 2nd place, although I think Diaz is effectively a DNF, and now Krebs is in 3rd place with overtake being made by Case, not completely, so now Case is back in 3rd and Krebs is back in 2nd place. This just gives Frank Sedevi behind in 4th a lot of room. That's in fact the DNF that just popped for Michel Diaz, unfortunately, because he was in a very good position. Oh, that's Glover off in turn 1. Back running in 12th, and Valicious is now in the pits again. He's stopped, so that's possibly another DNF. Yes, it is a DNF for the Ferrari driver. Daniel Krebs maybe just made it without too much damage. That was massive between the two. Hello, everyone's BMW. Yes, mainly because that's actually the way to say it. It's BMW in English, but the German way and also the Italian way, and everywhere I heard it is BMW. Don't know if it's a linguistic difference or not, but I just can't say BMW. It just feels so wrong in my mind. I called it BMW for 20 years. I can't just change now. Oh, there's a bit of a lockup there. That was Daniel Krebs going for a tiny lockup. And that's Frank Zivi having some struggles with the McLaren. Again, it's a number 70. As I said, he can't really pass the McLaren driver. Now he just did, but he lost an eternity behind them, leaving Zivi with a 2.5 seconds gap that has to be filled again. We go back for some on-track action. It's the Corvette of Nico Wellman and the BMW of Karl Van Horn are in 3rd and 4th in class. The BMW is in 3rd. Never mind. Maybe because Sedi is now passing through in... no, okay, no. I thought it was a good chance for the Corvette driver. So Van Horn was in the middle of the straight when the Peugeot appeared. So that's certainly not going to give the Corvette driver any help. So I'm actually surprised that Daniel Krebs didn't have any effective damage from what happened early on, not even that, but he is actually gaining on the driver ahead. Adam Modern now is only less than a second away. The gap earlier on was nearly 2 seconds. Matter of fact, Krebs gained 2 tenths in the 2nd sector and 4 tenths in the 3rd sector. So if any damage is there, it certainly doesn't impact the driver's form. There is also a possible battle going on here between Jones and Turner. Oh, that's a lockup there for the Porsche driver in the Hertz Jota livery. And that's the Porsche of Turner on the curbs, losing a massive amount of time. And that's position done for Jones now in 10th place with a lockup from Turner. Wellman is now back to 8 tenths per second away from the car ahead. So you can see the gap between Krebs and Modern is only 8 tenths, and it's getting lower and lower as the time progresses. Going to take a full second. But easily going. Oh, that's some argy-bargy between Evans and Hill. The art car BMW number 20 making the move in turn 1 on the Peugeot driver. And that's 8th place for Evans now, with Hill following in the 9x8. Velman lost a lot of time there. There was a mistake there by the Corvette driver. Look at this. So he was just behind the BMW. And I think he went for a spin. 360 degrees and back in action. So Velman, unfortunately, I don't know which button. Oh wait, there is another yellow flag. Oh, that's the Krebs. Oh, that's a massive one. That's Krebs losing a position. And Krebs is now in 4th place. And this is the reason for it. So the number 6 was just behind his opponent in 1st place. And then he lost the position on both Kiss and Sedevi. Put the car on the gravel after losing the car in turn number 1. So a massive one for Krebs. He is now 7.7 seconds behind the leader. And he was barely 8 tenths behind early on. So he now has some front end damage, and certainly the tires are not having a good time. As Yannick Lewis is now just behind the McLaren of Alan Brown. Yannick Lewis, the German driver, could go for a little move there for 5th place in class. Another yellow flag is showing. It's Glover, who is stopped on track for some reasons, but will stay for this battle. As we go on board with the BMW, with the dullest noise ever conceived by humankind. And unfortunately, it's not a mistake. This car is like this in real life. It's pretty boring. I mean, it's the only car in the field that has a inline 5, and that's Yannick Lewis going for the move in position number 6, but soon to become 5. If he can maintain the inside line. Oh, he doesn't. He remains behind. McLaren had actually a better exit on the right-hander. Will it be the same here on the main straight, as Nico Bellman is only 2.5 seconds ahead? So I think these two could be gaining on them. No, they aren't. Okay, never mind. Now there could be round number 2 for a move by Yannick Lewis, so he still remains behind. In the meantime, Krebs did overtake Sedevi, but that was quite frankly soon to happen, a move that was bound to happen. So we say that's a bit of oversteer for the German driver, and now Radevic is also behind them And there's a yellow flag showing. It's Chris Jones having some struggle somewhere. I think that's just in front of this trio. As you can see, the McLaren sandwich with a Beamer in the middle. It's composed by Alan Brown, Yannick Plus and Bartek Radovic, who was starting in second place but had a drive-through for improper starting position. Oh, that's a bit of a mistake there by the McLaren driver, and now Yannick Plus on the very same hotspot as early on is going for the move for 5th place. The inline 5 roars rapidly and completes the pass in 5th place, and now Radovic is possibly going to do... Oh, there is more contact between the two McLarens. Freeway battle on the main straight, with Radovic going for the move at least on the Inception driver, although the VRT liveried front engine BMW stays on outside and loses 2 positions. By doing so, loses again the rear end side by side into turn 2 over the curb, and that's Radovic going for 5th place from 7th early on, but again they go 3 wide in turn number 4. There is no space available for all of them, and as a matter of fact there was some contact between the BMW and the McLaren in red fashion, but that's Radovic now in 5th place and Yannick Plus back in 6th. Oh, more contacts between the BMW and the McLaren driver, and Alan Brown remains in 7th, but with some good chunk of damage on the front end. Again, some contact for Alan Brown, but I'm also seeing that Bartek Radovic has some important damage on the front left side of the race car, with Plus possibly having some damage on the left side and the rear deck, and Brown having some in the front end. Quite surely there has to be some. This battle just helped Veldman to gain some more time on his opponents, as Veldman is now 3.5 seconds behind Van Horn. And the Kiss just barely follows behind with a very little gap between the two. That's Adam Modan struggling a lot. The last sector, an entire 6 attempts were lost by the leader of the race. So currently the 9X driver is especially okay, I can speak. Very good. So it's easier for me to say it. And the yellow flag is now showing. It's William Glover again in turn 4. So turn 4 being quite the hotspot there. So there is clearly some issues, because another chunk of time has been lost by Modan on Kiss. Ascribes also made a mistake, losing a second on Serivi, but he still remains ahead. Very importantly, okay, oh, there is another yellow flag. This time it is Timo Bigot directly in the pits. So this was the reason for it. He was running normally, and then he wasn't. So he's now in the pits. Not sure the reason for it. And as you can see, Plus is still tailgating Radovic, which is quite honestly a sort of requisite for being a BMW driver. You have to tailgate your opponents, whether you are in traffic or in the middle of the racetrack. It's a mistake there by the German driver. As he's now lost a second and a half. No, he's a second and a half. He just lost about a second though. He was 6/10 of a second off leader. And Krebs gained a full second on Sedevi in the last two sectors, so there were probably some mistakes made by the two Porsche drivers. Now they are back in their normal routine. Again, another mistake by Modan, because the gap is only 4/10. It was a second 0.4 at the very beginning of the lap, so clearly some mistakes are being made by the leader, either under pressure in the tire, or in the tires, or some aero difficulties of some kind. It's clear that this driver is not having a good time. The same applies to Krebs, because even him just lost an entire second on Sedevi, so either the Peugeot is having a fantastic time on its tires, but the Porsches are struggling with the tires, because it's very odd that both Porsches are having struggles at the same time in the same ways. Which is second sector, with the first sector being quite okay. Second sector, they are losing a lot of time, both of them, and they are having practically the same exact moments, so losing a lot of time in second sector and going for some huge losses. And we could have a battle for the lead now, because if the same issue appears in the second sector, Peugeot could really have a good time. As you can see in the onboard camera, beating the curbs. So we made a tremendous mistake. No, okay, didn't. Gap is still 4 times on the car ahead. Timing screen for a brief moment didn't track the Peugeot driver. Oh, it's a bit of a lockup. A bit of a lockup there for Peugeot driver, who is actually having a very good time now. Two battles going on, you can see them both for a brief moment. So Modan and Case in first and second, and then there is a battle for third between Krebs and Sedevi. as the battles in LMGT3s are not really happening, as Illigner is... oh, there is a yellow flag showing in again. Well, it's a bit of a trouble there for the Porsche driver. Who completely lost the rear end of the car and didn't crash into the wall. As he goes into the pits. So Modern still is... oh, apologies. Still is ahead. Again, I apologize for the fact that I have to bring on the HUD every time, but I'll be honest, I thought the replay mode was like in Assetto Corsa Competizione, where you simply push a button and it goes back 15 seconds, and then it goes back live in autonomous fashion. I didn't know I had to go for another button to go back live, which doesn't make much sense, but okay. The gap between Keys and Modern is a bit large now. I can say the same between Celebi and Krebs. As you can see, the two cars are extremely close. And there is a good chance for Celebi to making it into third in this very lap. So it was a DNF for Glover at the end. With 44 now minutes to go, nearly in the middle of the race, and also this means that we are close to our scheduled pit stops, which will be important to know who will also repair the car for damage and who will still keep them. So appreciation for our LMGT3 leader, 26 seconds ahead of Drovat, and without any real contention for the win. Drovat is in second place with a gap of 5.7 seconds on Van Horn, currently sitting in third, just ahead of Velman, who is gaining on the drive ahead. He's been gaining more and more time as the time passed, as Radeviks also follows and also gains on Velman. So there is actually a battle for third as Jones goes into the pits, as you heard from the siren. So we are here for our first pit stop of the evening. As I was saying, there is actually a battle for third going on in LMGT3. It's just a bit loose in terms of gaps, but Radeviks is gaining on Velvan, who is gaining on Van Horn. So this will be interesting if it happens after the pit stops, because the possible changes in position could also happen during the pit stop phase. But as a commentator, I'm always cheering for some on-track action. As I said, we lost a good second on Krebs, who is now a second and a half clear of the driver ahead, the driver behind, apologies. And nearly 6 seconds, actually it's 5.7, 5.8. Now it is 6 seconds behind the Kiss and Modern. I really think that actually Krebs could still be well in contention for the win, because he's not really falling away. He actually gained some time in the latest moments and laps. So there actually could be some chance for Krebs to even making it not only in the podium, but also in P2 or even P1. Although there could be a penalty facing the Porsche driver for the contact that he had with Mitchell Diaz in the last corner. Misjudgment in the braking zone, and the two Porsches collided, with Diaz having the worst outcome of it. DNF for one of the contenders for the win. As we are in the halfway through, 40 minutes to go, and this also means that pit stops are approaching. Situation in LMGT3 is slightly different. There is a battle about to show up, as you can see from. It's better this one here at the moment, because you can see the gap between Van Horn, Bellman and Radwix is very little. So we'll go quickly for this one. The BMW driver is still ahead of the trio. I'm not sure how long this will remain like this. Radwix was also starting in second place and had a drive-through. So if you can get at least in the podium, this would be a very nice situation for Radwix. Meanwhile, Kiss is very close to Modan. Gap is only 2.5 times. Little mistake there by the Porsche driver, with the Peugeot having more grip in the rear tires. Into the last corner, right-hander. And then into the main straight. A lot of slipstream available for Kiss, as you can see from our rear end view. There is also the battle there between Vellman and Radewix. There was only a 10.5 between 4th and 5th in LMGT3, but they have to cooperate to get into 3rd. They both are quicker than Van Horn. They just have to time the move accordingly. Radewix is very close to it. To making it into 4th. As you can see, they are glued together. Look at this. Some damage in the front end of the car. For the 59 car, the yellow flag is showing. That's Yannick Plus just behind, who had a moment, but that's the move. Oh, there is some more damage between two cars. The McLaren, who will continue straight, and the Corvette going for the pits. 60 kph. Radwix now has the 4th place in hands, but it's going to be a question of if he can hold it. In any case, if you want to ask something in chat, I should be able to answer all of your questions. Should, in bold. Say hi to Stra, hi to Naguga, hi to Tom, Junior Racing, and KNF Race, currently watching the live stream. Scraps went into the pits and Feldman is just exiting the pits. So it's likely that these two... Oh, that was a massive mistake by a BMW. Scraps is now out of the pits. Not yet, but he's exiting the pits. As Radovix is now only three times. As you can see, the battle between Radovix and the BMW driver in third, Calvin Horn. They are also having the battle there. The McLaren keeping the fight on. Going to the right side of the M4 GT3 and going a bit too long on the brakes. Oh, that was a massive mistake there for Van Horn, really losing completely control of his car and leaving the window open on the outside for the McLaren driver to make it, and that's third place for Bartek Radovix. A long way to go to get into second place, and with a good question mark on whether Velman will be ahead or behind. But 10 seconds ahead lies Rezav Drobat, who currently stands on Radovic's old placement. It was starting in P2. I didn't know they added emotes in YouTube chat. The first time that I'm seeing that hand there. Is it like something like in Twitch, where you have sort of other emotes that you can use if you are a member of other channels, or is it like by default? Anyway, 94 now, it's very close. Well, very close is actually not enough. Kiss was glued to Modern, but now the two are back into chasing one another. As Evans and Hill are both in the pits. Into turn one, still some 100 meters gap in the two. Wait, I can actually do this. You can see the gap in real time. Last lap it was 3 times less for Kiss. Kiss is stating that this car is going quick, and the best time was a tenth less for Kiss. So Peugeot driver actually having the upper end in both statistics. The problem is that Modern is still ahead by only half a second, but he is. Possibly the pit stop phase will help the Peugeot driver, or also could do the opposite. 30 minutes to go, so they have to be clever about it. Remember that these tires can take multiple stints. Oh, you can see how close they are. Only a couple of meters, maybe not even that, is the distance between the two cars, which still continue, as Murasaki also overtakes Brown. for 4th place. As we go back in the lead. Radewix now has a 3.8 seconds gap on Van Horn in 3rd place. Assetto now has an 11 seconds gap on Keys ahead. So clearly the question arises, where will Krebs be at the end of this? Murasaki goes into the pits for the scheduled pit stop. And Jack Evans is also in the pits, car number 20. As now Besselink inherits P5 in class. Now the gap is quite thin between the two. Unfortunately, the car is not this competitive in real life. They both go into the pits. Can they brake both in time? Yes, they do. Very early. They do brake in time. So we can go on the track side to see the situation between the two. Will they change tires? I don't think they will change tires. Oh, that's the Peugeot. Unfortunately, in a bad situation, because it was tilted 45 degrees. They had to put it back. So it's now back running. In free tilting 45 degrees. And Kiss is still standing there. Oh, he's changing tires. I think he changed at least one set of tires. Possibly the left or the right handers. If anything, the left handers. Quite surely. But I don't know if it changed all 4 of them or not. As Modern is now back running. Timo Brown now is in the lead of the race. And Daniel Krebs is all in 6th place. That's a lot of time lost there. I think he also repaired the car at this point. Because he's in no man's land. Even behind Frank Sedivi by 15 seconds. So not really a good time for Krebs. He was also battling for the lead of the race. As Radewix is now back running. And quite a lot in front of Van Horn, who is now losing the position on Nico Velman. So Radewix now has a clear gap on Velman, around 8.5 seconds. Although there is a bit of a battle between Stewart and possibly no. Longren is now back on the racetrack. And Timo Brown is now in the pits, so this puts Modern back in the lead of the race without too many issues. After Kiss decided to change tires. Again, not sure if all 4 of them or only 2. But looking at the time standing in the pits, that could have been only 2. The car behind Kiss is Cray Hill in 9th place. because now it's interesting to see the sector times. He just gained 4 tenths in the very first sector. And the gap is currently 11 seconds. And it's rapidly decreasing. So possibly it was a good idea, even because, let's face it, he wouldn't have gained anything from not changing tires. At this point, why not doing a bit of a gamble? So the second sector was a 48.3 seconds for Modern. This was 48.1. So although cold tires, usually the tires in the hypercar class take a very long time to heat up, he still gained a good 6 tenths on the car ahead in only 2 sectors. Now into the third, 26.8 for Modern, 26.9 for Kiss. So I wonder if that's related to the McLaren being just in the middle of the racing line, or is it because of the cold tires? In any case, the next laps will be the important ones to look at. 52.9 again for Modern. Half a second being gained in a single sector for Domokos Kiss. So 24 minutes to go, around 14-15 laps to go, and 10 seconds, 10 second half is the gap. So there's actually a good chance that we could see this Peugeot in P1 by the end of the race. The gap is less than 10 seconds. This car is gaining a lot of time, and also it is doing it quickly. 48.8 for Modern, practically a 48.9, and it was a 47.9 for Kiss. An entire second has been gained in a single sector. I don't want to say things in advance, but I honestly don't think there will be much battle between the two. The question is not even when will it, it's not even if it will happen, but when. When will it happen? 26.8, 26.7. So the first sector is actually not that great by Kiss. But the other two are a complete disaster for Modern compared to the number 94. You can also see the last lap time. A 2.6 was gained by Domokos Kiss in a single lap. Again, another 4 tenths have been gained. So this is actually time. There is actually a lot of time compared to the amount of gains this car is having. Because endurance racing is practically decided on a tactic base rather than a sheer speed base. And as it stands, this Peugeot is really putting together everything. A 2.1 has been gained in only one sector. So Modern can do a lot of things, but he certainly can't run. And by the look of things, this could be over in... Oh wait, that's Serie off. That's Serie off track. Something happened to the Peugeot driver. Was it a contact of any kind? Or was it on himself? Oh, he completely lost the rear. And made some damage to his car. Now the Porsche driver is barely behind Serie. And this could be up for grabs for Krebs for third place in class and effectively overall. So you see way better line for Daniel Krebs. As you go on board with former leader of the race. He will go for the inside maneuver. There is no contact between the two. That's the position done for Daniel Krebs in an easy fashion. With 20 minutes to go, he is. Let me have a look at it because I think he's gaining on Kiss, but the gap is way too large. It's currently 23 seconds. So I really doubt that this car will be able to gain on Kiss in 20 minutes only. Trust me, because he's really trying to make it. As it stands, the situation is not in Krebs' favor. He gained an entire second on Kiss this time around. Actually went quite slow in second sector. But actually requires more than a second per lap. He actually requires, I think, 2 seconds per lap. Which is simply not doable. Just behind them, number 70 and number 54, Jan Barth and Alan Brown battling for 7th place in class. So McLaren has a good chance to make it into 7th place. Into the inside it goes, and that's number 70 now in 7th place. Jan Barth is just now following in 8th. But that's the overtake done and dusted for the McLaren driver, who is now in 7th. And Playus is 17 seconds ahead, so that's possibly not happening between the two. So this could be the best possible position for Brown. As Radovic is barely behind Robert, he has been gaining a lot of time in the last laps. And the McLaren driver is currently only 2.2 seconds behind Robert. So McLaren could get back to 2nd place at the end of the day. But quite honestly, Iligner is simply demolishing the field. He made his best lap, which was actually better than the qualifying lap, 59.9 for Iligner, compared to a 0.7 for Radovic, who is also the 2nd fastest car in the circuit. The 3rd one is Drobat with a 01.0 as their personal best. So the Renault GT3 field at the top is quite spread out. Back ahead, I don't think there is much to say apart from the fact that Kiss has been gaining more and more time. As you can see here in the last lap, 2.3 has been gained on Modon. And this driver here, in this lap, will gain a massive amount of time. As you can see from this last lap, it was at 2.3 seconds. So, quite honestly, that's a lot of time being gained back on Modan. Scraps is still having some troubles. He lost a lot of time in the second sector for some reasons. And now Servi is just behind the Porsche. So it's not over yet for third place in hypercar class. And speaking of third place, Radovix in third is barely behind Drobot. I think that this overtake will happen sooner or later. Because for them, gap in the last lap has been, I don't know, because for some reasons it hasn't been registered. So only 15 minutes to go. Askis is also gaining seconds per lap. So I suppose we could have the battle for the lead in very little time. There is this one for second place going strong. Scraps gained another second on Celebi, so possibly there was a mistake being made in the lap prior to this. As the fastest cars are now approaching. Was it Moda? No, it wasn't Moda. But Kiss is... Oh wait, yellow flag is showing. I don't know the reason for it. Can pick it in time. Anyway, currently... Oh, that's a bit of a wide line for the BMW driver. And McLaren making a bit of contact, I think, with the car in second place. "12 minutes to go, so plenty of time for these two. 6 laps to go, maybe 7 if they are lucky. In LMGT3, whilst in hypercar class I think it's something along the lines of 8 laps. As the Porsche number 4 is not really helping the situation for the McLaren driver. As you can see, an entire second was present between Drobot and Radovix for a moment. Okay, it's now back behind. Drobot. The M4 GT3. Could be a chance now in the outside, but that's quite optimistic. They go into turn 4 on the inside, and that's possibly the position done for the McLaren. Currently in the number 59, they're still side by side. into 5. Oh, more contact. And I think again more contact. They're still side by side into the narrow right-hander. Over the curb. Oh, that's a bit of a loss of traction for the robot, but that's second place gone. And that's Radovic's now in that placement. And that's very likely the battle over, because the gap between the two was, quite frankly, a good one. 4 tenths was time being gained by Radovic in the last lap. Now there is already a 7 tenths gap between the two. As we go back in the top, 10 minutes to go. And only a second point 2 is the gap between the two. Krebs is 25 seconds behind. It's going to be another 3. With Brown in 5th place. Now looking at the battle for position number 1, the last lap, only 2 tenths were gained by Case. And okay, another lap passed. This time it's, I don't know which one, because it's not showing. For some reasons the gap is not showing in the last lap, but now the gap is only 6 tenths, and quite likely, this is awful, this is awful. Go with this one. You can see the Porsche number 5 ahead, not being as grippy as the number 94. Oh, going extremely wide there on entry on the left-hander, on the main back straight. This part here being used in, not this one in particular, but the part on the right of the wall. There is a drag line, which is used for drag racing, and also there is the national circuit being used on the inner part, the inner loop, called because it's an inner loop. And there is the outer loop, then there is the grade 1 FIA specification, and the endurance layout, which hasn't been used since 1942. For how much time has passed, but it was once used and it wasn't great. It was used in endurance racing for WEC, but rapidly lost appreciation, as Craig Hill is currently in the sand, and now behind Turner. As now the gap is only 4 tenths, last lap. 5 tenths were gained from Case to Modan, but there are just 6 minutes to go. And I just noticed that the minimap on top updates for the track you are in, so that's a very nice thing. Oh, very wide. Number 5 leaves a window open, but not enough. Wide. So the Peugeot remains behind, although that was a bit of a lunge for the car number 5. Again, losing some tiny bit of time to Kiss. Following behind, the Corvette doesn't put itself in the middle of the battle, although Kiss is a bit cautious in taking a risk. As there are just 5 minutes to go, they have to use every possible thing in their arsenal to make it happen. And you can see a bit wider entry for Modan. This just gives the leader a bit of a boost in exit speed. 5 minutes to go. Roughly 4 laps. No, 3 laps, maybe. No, 4 laps, 4 laps, 4 laps. Oh, that was the rear slipping off a tiny bit. So Kiss with newer tires has to move. He goes maybe for a lunge. He thinks about it, but it doesn't happen. In the last lap, Kiss lost a 10th. On Modan. Again, you can see how close this car is. Over the curve, maybe a lunge. It was possible to launch here. So he's very, very cautious. There was clearly some room there. And again, you can see Modan having a struggle. And even struggle to point the car on the inside. But Kiss is not really using the opportunities that are presenting it in front of him. It's now glued into the right hander. It's again being very cautious, not going for a dive bomb, but the time is running out. Still in second place for Domagos Kiss. The last lap, it was a clear gain for Kiss. A yellow flag is showing. It's a car off track, but not a car stopped. Well, the 2 times were gained by Kiss, so he has to make a move. Otherwise the time will run out. And he will remain second place. He thinks about it now, but again, he just thinks about it and doesn't concretize the opportunity that presents itself. Oh, little contact there between Kiss and Modan. For now, Kiss still follows Modan. Okay, the Porsche going a bit wide, an opportunity presents itself, although there is a BMW just sitting on the apron for a brief moment, but then it leaves the door open for the other two to pass through. Assetto brakes a tiny bit later, maybe to try to get finally an advantage on the last corner. Oh, a bit of a locked. The tires, rear wheels spinning off, and the last lap starts now, so there is no more time to go. Kiss has to go for a move, for a dive, in any possible way. He can't stay behind forever. He's way too far behind now, so the opportunity in turn 1 is impossible. Remember that this driver was gaining a second and a half per lap, so clearly the gap is not that much to cover. And the pace is there. Oh, that's a bit of a lock-up for Kiss. But I think Modan, without really defending that much, for now he's going to conquer the Bahrain racetrack, round number 3. So the gap is now 7 tenths. I really doubt that anything will now happen. So we go trackside with the leader. And this could be a very important wasted opportunity for Kiss, because he has the car, he still has the car. And he has the tires, so he has to go for a move now or never. And it's going to be never. So he just stays behind and completes the race in P2. So Adam Modan wins the race with Kiss just following. Although the opportunities were there, he simply didn't commit for it. I'm honestly bummed about it, because there was clearly the chance for Kiss to make it into P1, but he simply didn't. As Krebs now completes the lineup, the podium lineup in 3rd place. And Illigner is still on the main back straight, so I will wait. Sedi is in 4th place. Brown is going to compete in 5th. Radvix competed in P2 with Robert in P3. Van Horn now goes across the line just in front of a Corvette. I think that one is Illigner. Matter of fact, it's not. Apologies. As Van Horn is now in 3rd, as Nico Wellman completed the race in 5th place, and Pleus now goes to complete the race in 6th. Timo Brown goes across the line in 7th. In 5th, apologies. 5th place in class as Illigner now goes in P1. So for how long he stayed behind him? He stayed for 10 whole minutes with a car that was gaining a 2.5 per lap on Modan. So yeah, there wasn't even much defense from Modan's side, as Murasaki is now in 6th and Bethling completes the race in 7th. With Alan Brown being in 7th place in LMGT3, Jan Barf in 8th, and Nigel Longden in 9th in LMGT3, with Stewart and Brunel in 11th spot. That's one way to say it, and one way to see it. Modan, Kiss, 3 times gapped each other, then Krebs in 3rd, Seri in 4th, Timo Brown in 5th, Murasaki in 6th, Bestelink, then Jones, Hill and Evans completed top 10. Overall, Simon Tanner last finishing Hypercar in 11th. Illigner wins with a massive advantage on Radevix and Robot. Van Horn, Vellman, Pleus, Brown, Ian Barf, Nigel London in 20th place. And then we've got Mark Stewart and Tom Brunel completing the race in 22nd place, with Glover, Bigot, Van Luschut, Diaz and Moody not finishing the race. G2 winner. So yeah, to answer your question, it was 10 whole minutes, and the car was effectively quicker than the one ahead, so that's racing, I guess. In any case, congratulations to Modan for winning the 80 minutes of Bahrain International Circuit for the Masters of Le Mans Ultimate. Next round is going to be in Interlagos, if I remember correctly. It will be in Interlagos, and that's round number 4, and then the finale, which will be in 2 weeks from now. Or is this still... Okay, yes it is. So anyway, thanks to all of you that have been in the live stream. Thank you to everyone that was either in Twitch or in YouTube. And I'm Cristian Romano. I will see you all in next Thursday for ACC, or next week for the Man's Ultimate. Good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world, and see you next time. Bye!